there, I'm Hugo from TechCornerTV and I have here the DC-6006L power supply from FNIRSI to review today. I purchased this power supply for review about 4 or 5 months ago, but this review has been on standby for two reasons. First, because I have mixed feelings about what I think about it, but I'll talk a bit more about this towards the end of the video. And second, because fortunately I have companies that believe in the channel and in the work I have done so far, and regardless not having yet thousands of subscribers, they have been sending products for review and I am really thankful for that. But by my own choice, and since these products are offered for review, I give them priority in the preparation of the videos, and all of this combined caused this review to be delayed. Moving on, and regarding the power supply itself, in technical terms I think it's a small wonder, but there are some conditions to be noted and I'll cover them later on. The best thing to do is start by showing all the features and what's in the package, so let's do this. Let's see what comes in this bag. This is the bag that comes with the power supply. It's a very nice bag, it's synthetic leather. This power supply was first opened and first impressions on Mailbag 29. You can see it on the Mailbags channel. I will leave some image here so you can see how the opening was and how it came packed. Let's see what's inside of this bag. Okay, delivered with this is a micro USB cable, micro USB to Type A cable. We have also a charging connector. This will allow you to charge batteries without the voltage going back to the power supply. And also in here, let me show you, we have a small component. I think this is empty, to be honest. I don't see anything in here, but it should be a fuse to replace one if something happens to the one it has. So in the back we have two banana plugs input, power input, also power input, a PD USB Type-C socket, and also a jack socket for this input also. We have a fan for ventilation. The case, it's aluminum. It's a very nice case, very solid. On the front we have this small display, also a knob for selection. We have two direction keys also for operation. We have a voltage amperage selector and on and off channel. The channel, it has one output, and also one output, micro USB output. This one it's Type-C, but this output it's micro USB. This is what comes in the bag, so let's see how it works. I have here already in place the DC-6006L for review. Let me just recap very quickly the buttons. We have the rotary knob, the left button, the left selection button, the right selection button, voltage and amps selection button, and also on and off, the channel on and off button. In here we have the micro USB socket to connect to the PC, and obviously the output channel. the little display, and I will now power this. And let's start by talking about the display. In the display, we have on the tops the preset values for voltage and amps, the output voltage and the limit output voltage and the limit amps. We have a temperature indicator here. Also, this box indicates if the protection of the power supply was triggered. We have 4 protections, and if one of them is triggered, it will appear here the acronym. We have in this box if the power supply is using continuous current or continuous voltage. Right now it's continuous voltage. We have an indicator if the output channel is on or off. I will turn on, and yeah, right now it's green. And when we connect the output channel, you see here a timer that will record the time that the channel is on. Also, on the second screen, in this screen we have the accumulated amps hour indication here, and also the watts hour in the line below. We can see that the power supply is with an input of 31 volts 98. We have also in this screen the indicator that the channel is on and the time that it's already running. And on the top we have the settings again. This screen is the same information showed in different ways. So input voltage, output voltage, current, power, and the same indicator here. This screen is the system setup. So we have only 5 options in the setup. The first one is the default switch. Let me just explain you something that I didn't before. To change screen, you have to use this knob. To change the menus, you have to use this selector. You cannot move the cursor with the knob. It has always to be with the selector. Okay? So in the first menu, to enter the option, you press the knob and use the knob to change the option. This one, the default switch, means that when you power the power supply, it will automatically start with the output channel on or off by default, and by security it should be off normally, unless you have a specific usage that requires that when the power supply powers on, you have this channel automatically on. So next we have the language. Let me just show you. In terms of language, we have English and Chinese, nothing more. We have also the timing display. You can turn on or off. And we have the direction. The direction or display orientation. It's a very nice feature. You can, for example, move the display so you can have the power supply on vertical instead of horizontal. It's a very nice feature. It has a small caveat, a small problem in my opinion. And let me show you, unzoom this to show you. Okay, right now we have this on vertical. We have the arrow keys. This one is up, this one is down. It was previously in the left and right. And when you press down, the cursor goes up. And when you press up, the cursor goes down. Well, it should have some kind of detection, what is the orientation, so this doesn't happen. But it's a small issue. If you use, let me show you, if you use the, instead of 90 degrees, the 270, okay, you will have the power like this, power supply like this, and in this way the buttons work. Okay. it happens the same with 180, but I don't know why they have this option. It doesn't make sense because it's horizontal anyway, just upside down. And in this case, the arrow keys are also in the wrong direction. Okay, so let's put this again, 0 degrees, and we are back. Okay, let me just zoom in again to show you this. And yeah, it's fine. So the last option, it's the temp unit. So the temp unit, you can use Celsius or Fahrenheit for you guys in the States. So yeah, that's nice also. I want to use Celsius. And the last screen, it's the screen with the protections. You have over voltage protection, OVP, over current protection, over power protection, and over temperature protection. To change, you just, for example, here enter, you can turn on or off the protection, and if you want to specify the temperature, you use the arrow keys to change the cursor, and then use this to change the temperature, the value. When you finish, just press the knob to go back to the last menu. Finally, we have the timeout menu. That's the time. You can also turn this feature on or off, and you can specify the time that this unit will automatically shut down after this time of inactivity. So that's it in terms of menus. Nothing very complicated. I will now apply some loads in here. First of all, I'm gonna increase the maximum voltage to the maximum that this can output, because my Rigel power supply can go up to 32 volts, so the maximum that it can output it's 28.83. The supply, the power supply that supplies energy to this unit, has to be 1.1 times bigger. So 32 volts, it cannot put a maximum of 28.83. Yeah, that's it. 3 amps. Let's put some load in it. Okay, I will forget to connect the cables, and without that it will not work. Okay, let's zoom out so I can show you the multimeter. Put this a little bit low, and yeah, that's fine. I've connected already here the power, the DC electronic loads on this cable and also on this, and these banana plugs in here are connected to the multimeter that I will power on now. Let's just wait so it will start. Okay, we have multimeter working. I will now start the DC electronic loads. And right now I'm applying 28 volts with 3 amps in the electronic load. The electronic load says it's drawing 28.401 volts. That's near what the multimeter says it's outputting. The power supply says it's outputting 28.54 volts. Well, it has 6 decimal Yeah, 6 digits difference. Yeah, not perfect, but yeah, it's the less significant digit, so I will accept that. Okay, let's make some tests. I will put the output, the electronic load with voltage like 24, 12, and 5 volts that are common in electronics. Let's start with the 24 voltage, 24 volts. Okay, it's now with 24 volts 0.007. It's what the DC electronic load says. And what we have here is 24.14 in output. It says it's with 3.001 amps, and the electronic load, it's also saying it's over 3 amps output. Okay, that's weird. It's drawing 72 watts, 0.46, and the output of the DC electronic load, it's 72,166. So yeah, okay, let's move on to 12 volts. It's now with 12 volts. The multimeter says it's outputting 12.0079. The output here in the power supply says it's 12 volts and 0.12. And the DC electronic load says it's drawing about 12 volts also, 12.003. Okay, 36 watts. Yeah, it's the same basically. Let's move this to 5 volts. Output of 5.076. Not bad. Well, the indicator here, it's not very accurate with the output. The difference, it's like 5 to 6 decimal digits, and the DC electronic load, it's 5002. Yeah, 5002. The amps are 2998, so yeah, very near. And the power, it's different. We have on the DC load 14996, and we have 153736 here. Yeah, okay. Moving on to the last voltage that I will test. It's 3.3 volts, very common in a ESP and some Arduinos and stuff like that. So 3.3 volts, it's what I entered in the DC electronic load. It says it's outputting 3.42. The multimeter doesn't agree. This says it's 3.37, and the DC electronic load says it's drawing 3.301. In the lower voltage, it says 10.27, and the DC electronic load, it says it's with 9.89 watts. So I don't know who I can trust. Let's move this to 1 volt. Let's see what happens. With 1 volt, it says it's outputting 1.11. The multimeter says 1.07, and DC electronic load 1.001. So we have a little difference here, but yeah, it's acceptable, I think. 3.35 watts. The DC electronic load says it's 3 watts also. Okay, let's put this in half a volt. Someone is not happy with this. Okay, he doesn't like. Okay, let's do something like this. I don't know what is going on here, but we will check this. Moving this to a 1 amp. Okay, now he doesn't complain. So in 500 millivolts, we have, it says 0.52, and yeah, it's in this one, I can agree, it's 524 volts, millivolts DC. So yeah, it's not bad. It's accurate. Yeah, and 0.52 watts, and also the power supply says 0.49. Yeah, so 4950 with the most significant digit. It's good. Okay, I'm happy. For the price, I can live with this difference, to be honest. Yeah, let's see how it handles with the software. On the screen, on the left, we have the software that is provided for managing this power supply. You can program the power supply using this software and connecting a micro USB cable directly to the USB port on the front. It's pretty easy to use, nothing special here to configure. You just need to configure your COM ports. In my case, it's COM8, open. And in this, the X should be to close, but yeah, it's open, and now you have the check symbol. After open the port, you have to do the connection also. Okay, right now it's connected. You can see in here that it's connected. So in the screen, you have first a graph of usage. This graph shows you the voltage usage. You have also a graph for current usage. Right now, I don't have the DC electronic loads connected to create loads, so we don't have anything in here. You can stop this and start, and also you can save to an Excel file the results, so you can use it later for statistical use or something like that. You have two memories. If you notice the power supply on the right, I'm going to select the second memory, and you probably saw the values changing with this preset. To change the value, the output settings, it's pretty easy. Just get in this box and press tab, automatically change on the power supply, and for example, let's put here 3 amps, and the power supply is updated. And also the memory 1, if you go to the memory 2, you have the other value, and memory 1, it's already updated. You have most of the options available on the configuration of the power supply in here. Also, you have the overtime protection in here. You can activate or deactivate this. Also the protection setting for voltage, for current, and for power. When something is triggered, you can change the status. Some protection is triggered, you can change the status to OK here. And yeah, that's it. You have here the current continuous voltage, indicating that the power supply is working in continuous voltage. Let's turn the channel on. The graphic automatically change to show that it's outputting 12 volts. You can see also in here that the power supply says it's outputting 11.99 volts. Right now we don't have current outputting, we don't have loads, neither we have power. And yeah, that's it. It's a pretty simple software. You can also upgrade the power supply using this software. and you can have file settings here that you can use it. Okay, so that's it. Nothing special. Pretty easy to work. You have a programmable power supply for about $40. So yeah, that's something to consider. It really is. At the beginning of this video, I told you that I feel divided with mixed feelings about this power supply. And it's true. Because while I think it's a small technological wonder, you can have a programmable power supply, and the programmable, it's a very important part in this analysis, with very nice features and at very nice affordable price. On the other hand, it turns out to be a little disappointing that you need a second power supply to power this one. You can connect it directly to the house main power. If we are talking about input voltage up to 12 to 15 volts, you can still get a small transformer like this one that plugs directly into the jack socket, and we can get up to 15 volts and 3 amps. However, if we want to use the maximum 70 volts and 6 amps, you will need a power supply with a reasonable size. This one that I have here outputs 12 volts and 30 amps. For 70 volts and 6 amps, you will need one bigger than this. So, to wrap this up, my opinion, and as it is always open to constructive criticism from you that is watching this video, but what I think is there are specific cases in which you can use this device as a DC to DC voltage or current step-down adapter, which is precisely what it is. But I honestly think that this device is more aimed for an audience that is starting electronics and needs an adjustable and programmable power supply for a low price. And by this, I don't mean that it shouldn't or can't be used by professionals. Not at all. However, for professional use, it usually makes more sense to connect your power supply to the house or lab electric structure powered by AC 2110 or 220 volts, instead of using an additional power supply. One of the positive points of this device is that it allows you to power this power supply in 3 different ways. You have the PD USB Type-C connector, the power jack, and also the banana plugs, giving you more flexibility for your powering choice. It is a very well-built product with a good finishing and quality, and just needs a few tweaks to be almost perfect. Of course, apart from that issue with the external supply. But moving on, as an example, the lettering could be more modern. Something based on a sans serif instead of this time New Roman or something like this, and also fix the small bug. When you change the screen orientation, the knobs and buttons respond inversely to the cursor movement. Small things that can probably be fixed with a firmware upgrade. But having that said, and if you are starting with electronics projects, work with Arduino's ESP or others, and you need an adjustable and programmable power supply for your projects, this is a good option, affordable and with quality. I hope that this video was useful to you. If it was, please give a big thumbs up by pressing the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and if you do, don't forget to hit that bell so you can be the first one to be notified whenever I post a new video. That's all for today. Thanks for watching until this point. I hope to see you in my next video. Cheers!